Speaking of downtown changing, downtown, improving, what are some of the current things going on around downtown? I know a lot of people have questions about, certain things going in and out. And so I guess we can just tackle that topic now.
I think the big thing that's obviously going to change is wrapping up the Stellar projects. That's going to happen over the next month, let's say. And so I think that will probably bring a closure to most of the big activity that's going on downtown. But you'll see there's some targeted things we've done in some demolition of some rundown, blighted properties. And I think that I hope that people have patience in that. Some of them we're doing a couple of years in advance of things that we see needing to happen, but we had the opportunity to go ahead. So we will continue to do that, just trying to clean up neighborhoods and trying to get the overall look of the community. And then there's some projects that I know Brian and the people from the Arts Council are continuing to look at. And one of the opportunities we have now is what's called art ports. And so in the gateway and the overlook, there are basically attachments at the ground level that allow you to put art in, and it's an anchoring system. So let's say, because she's sitting here, we'll say Lexi does welding and art and abstract stuff. As long as she puts the proper base on it, we can attach it to that art port, and we can move it. We can move it from wherever we have art ports at throughout. So we're looking at putting them in Carroll Jenkins Davis Park. We're looking at putting them in Wilkie Park, the Gateway, and the Overlook. So it's kind of a new thing we're thinking about. But art projects, Brian, do you have any that jumps out at you that you're working on right now?
The Bicentennial will allow us to do some fun things to celebrate the community. If you look at the back of another downtown renovation was the Shell. They tore down, complete rebuild. It looks very nice. And whereas the old one, it's kind of funny, it always looked cram-packed and like it was busy as could be because all the cars were in there just smashed together. And I drove through yesterday. I thought, man, they're just not very busy. And I looked, and there's 8 cars lined up and plenty of cars parked. It's just a much bigger, wider setup that's more convenient to get in and out. So, but on the back of that building, you can see there's an area that was designed for a mural. So that's one of the areas. And then if you have not seen or followed on Facebook, we also have a new guy, Lance I'm going to mess it up now. Waskaboynik is his last name, and was coming through town because people were kind to him, and he was kind of in a rough situation. His vehicle wasn't able to get out of town. I think he said he tried to escape 3 times and kept coming back. But he's done some cool art projects. There are 2 inside El Reparo. He updated our line at 14th and Main, the mayor's line at 7th and Morgan. Yep. He did an incredible restroom restoration or renovation project at Booker T, and I think he's going to be somebody that does some other art coming up. So we went from where I would say 10 or 15 years ago we had virtually no art, at least no visual art. We had Riverside performance art going on, but you'll see a focus on that. I think the foundation is working on something right now to get some of that out there. And then Drew Hahn is somebody who's come back to the community. He's working for the hospital with mental health, and he's working on a project that would have just some nice, maybe some art, but also inspirational messages that find their way around town. So a lot going on. And downtown restoration, we still have a number of projects. I think we had El Reparo and Mezcal with renovation projects. We had Tony Abrams at Bobolink with a renovation project. We're looking at 2 buildings potentially in the West End. One of those being an update for Davis Towing, and another one of those being for Laker Implements. So it really takes everyone in the community, both public, private. The schools have had a number of different investments. If you look up there at their new baseball facilities, new housing that we've had, which has been cool. And that'll probably be a topic down the road where we'll just discuss housing and why that's so important to what we do.
Well, one of the things that as I was going through files the other day, I found a video file, and come to find out it was the video file where we flew for Stellar, downtown. And I think it would be interesting to fly that exact same path and look at the change, because the jail has changed. Tweedy is now Davis's, and it's changed. The city center is not a building with an old facade. It's a brand new. The Fish Moon is different. So it would be interesting to see that exact same flyover and make the comparison, because I think for a small rural community like we are, I think it would be tough to find one who has made the progress we've made in the last, well, how long have I been in office?
2012.
So no, but I mean, we've been able to accomplish some pretty amazing things, and in a lot of ways more than we thought we were capable of, in a real sense. But it is something to be proud of whenever you look at it and say, wow, that was only 5 years ago.
Yeah, that's probably the neatest thing for us, and you'll see it. You've seen a little bit of that already with me. I'm sure I've heard a couple of the phone calls where I'm talking to someone from another community, and they've called and said, how have you guys figured out how to do this part? I had a call this week on our farmers market and what we thought about that. I've had a call about housing. In the last month, we've had 3 other communities come from as far up as Auburn, and come and tour our facility, tour our downtown. Liberty and Union County was also one of those. And the really neat thing about that is we truly, if you haven't figured that out yet, there's a passion for rural development, for downtowns. And when you're that passionate, you're more than happy to share that with other communities as well. And certainly, as I've said, I hope all of Indiana is successful, because that helps us all in the end as well. And obviously, I mean, I take that all the way up that I want our country to be successful. But if you're successful in what you do and you show great passion and you really focus on your circle of concern, you become more of an influencer than you ever dreamed, because people start saying, "Hey, how'd you do that?"
And I think our circle of concern has gotten bigger. I think we have really adopted that concept of Rushville is an amazing place. Rush County is an amazing place, and I hope that we will be able to convey, and I hope that there will be announcements soon that talk about our region being an amazing place, and how we will continue to work and help out our region to be more prosperous. So.
Well, one of the things that we talk about is river to rails, and you may or may not have heard us talk about this yet, but the railroad is right next to us, and 4 blocks down there's a river. And if you think about the amount of investment as you drive through town, and start just over the bridge, and you see there's a new Casey's. Beacon was newly renovated. You come across the street, you see the new park, Gettinger's improvement. You go on down, there's a new Union Savings and Loan. There's a new downtown Shell. There's a new Criminal Justice Center. There's an updated Tweedy. There's 3 new housing projects: Campaign Flats, Campaign Quarters, the Windsor. Keep moving down. There's the Farmers Market, which is fairly new. You got Fish Moon, the City Center, the Rushwork Training Center, all of that in one area. And I'm going to test you.
Yeah. Did we get 79 projects with the Stellar?
And how many? Well, 79 projects after Stellar for a total of?
68 million. Or
I think you're right.
67, somewhere in that range. Yes, I just wrote that, so I got that down.
Wow, Lexi,
See that?
And I
Lexi
think
with
it is
numbers.
really cool. Yes, you know me, I'm great with numbers. But I think it is really cool. Like he said earlier, it's cool to see it from an out of city perspective. We both live in the county, and then now being interns, seeing it a little more firsthand. It's definitely really interesting to see. And I agree with Mayor Pavey on flying through and seeing the progress that we've made. I think that would be really cool as well.